Recording in progress.
Okay. All right, it's 6:30. We'll get started. Welcome, everyone, and happy holidays. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. This is the City Council meeting for the City of Fairway, Kansas. It is Monday, December 8th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Nathan, I have no announcements. Do you? Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda this evening is some great news. Chief, I'll let you share it with us.
Thank you. Right now, I'd like to ask Mandy Bayless to come up, along with Santa Wilburn, please. Mayor and Council, tonight I will be saying some words about Mandy Bayless, and I'll just start right now. She is an example of service and dedication to the department and the city. She started her career in public service with the Shawnee Police Department in 2007, and then in 2015 she joined the Fairway Police Department. She progressed through the ranks all the way through lieutenant. She achieved that rank in 2021. She currently oversees all operational aspects of the department, and she constantly seeks to improve operations and the direction of the police department. We have a very progressive department, as you all know, and we are very fortunate to serve a community like Fairway. During her career, she's been recognized with numerous awards, to include the Department Medal of Valor, also the Gold Award for Uncommon Valor from the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police. She serves on numerous organizations and committees, to include the Women's Public Safety Network, National Association of Women Law Enforcement Executives, Johnson County Training Commanders, Johnson County Investigation Commanders, and Johnson County Patrol Commanders. As you know, we're not a large agency, and we wear a lot of hats, and she certainly steps up to wear all of those. She also is a Camp Fury Volunteer Committee member, and what that is an organization that engages young women seeking profession in public service. During her time here, she also has obtained a master's in public administration of criminal justice, as well as supporting the department and the community every single day. Selfless service. She's also done this all while being a mother of two and a wife to another law enforcement officer with another agency, which in itself is exceptional. I don't know how she does it. I truly believe that there are no limits to the things that she can do and the direction in which the department can move. It's with an incredible amount of pride that I promote Mandy Bayless to the rank of captain with the title of deputy chief. Tonight I'll be presenting her with her captain's badge, and she's going to be pinned with her captain bars by Santa Wilburn, her friend and mentor. Santa is also my friend and mentor. Santa and I started our law enforcement career together at the Johnson County Regional Police Academy. She sat right in front of me. She never talked to me because I think she didn't think I was going to make it. I always say that, and it makes her so mad. So Santa progressed through the ranks of Overland Park PD until she retired, and she retired as deputy chief there. She currently serves as the director at the Johnson County Regional Police Academy. So at this time, I'm going to present Captain Bayless with her badge, and then I will have Santa pin her captain bars on her. Thank you. Thank you all.
Mandy, don't sit down yet. Congratulations. We are so lucky to have you here in Fairway. We are so proud of you. And I've gotten to know you over the years that I've served, and it's been an honor to walk alongside you. So thank you so much for your dedication to our city.
Thank you. Feelings mutual.
Next on the agenda are our Time in Service Awards. And we'll have some more picture taking here. Okay, then I'll speak into it. Okay, as I call your name, if you come forward, I would appreciate it. David Watkins. David has served on the city council for 12 years. He and I have served together for those 12 years. David,
Thank you.
thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
You will be missed. Thank
You
you.
won't be. You get to keep working.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just send it over to the city of Fairway.
Oh, staying here? Oh, right here?
Dan Bailey. Dan has served 3 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals and 8 years on City Council. We've been in it together, Dan. You will be missed.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's been great working with you.
Don't go anywhere. This next gentleman I have known for a long time. Ron Denton has served the city of Fairway for 32 years on the Planning Commission. And Ron and I knew each other when I worked for J.C. Nichols, which was before these 32 years. That was a long time, way before that. Pardon?
I find it incredible that the city would put up with an architect for 32 years.
Oh, but he's exceptional. He is exceptional. Ron, thank you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed my service.
Your service has been fabulous. We appreciate all your time. Marcia Downs has served 23 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Marcia, I did not know you like I knew Ron, but 23 years is exceptional.
It went by fast.
Thank you so much for serving our city. We appreciate it.
It was a privilege.
Miss you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, they get that. Derek Miller. Hi, Derek. Before I shake your hand, Derek has 10 years of municipal service in the state of Kansas. He started his career in Shawnee, I believe, and he joined the Fairway Police Force in February 28th of 2025. So we get to celebrate his 10 years of service and say thank you. This is for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one additional service award to give to Josh Rubio. Josh is not here tonight. He is watching his daughter in her first wrestling match. And I said, oh, you can't miss that. Josh Rubio started in Shawnee also. And I think he and Derek started on the same day in Shawnee, and they're back together again. Josh took a little detour through Mission, and then he joined April 4th of 2022. So we congratulate Josh Rubio. Well, I'll just stand right here and keep going. Next is the swearing in of the newly elected officials. So, those
Well, we're
of you
gonna
who...
do the mayor first.
Oh,
Because you are reelected, so we have to do yours first and then.
oh,
the
so that I could
council.
do, and I'm all by my lonesome?
All Meyer
Okay.
Watson. Okay. So we'll do this. Raise your hand. Repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
and faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
of the city of Fairway, Kansas.
for the city of Fairway, Kansas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Oh, gotta stand.
I need company.
All right, I'll stand with you. Okay. All right,
Do you need me for this, or can I go sit down?
you could sit down. I have to do this
correct.
part. All right, if I can have Kellyanne and Tanya are reelected to come down and join us. And then we have our two new council members to be sworn in as well, Emily Snyder and James Hafner, if you could join us as well. We'll do everybody together. This will be fine. That way Bryce can get a picture of everybody doing that. We good? Okay, if we can raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Kansas.
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
And faithfully discharge the duties of council member
and faithfully discharge the duties of council member
of the city of Fairway, Kansas.
of the city of Fairway, Kansas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, welcome. Okay.
I'm gonna hide.
Because this is the agenda that was posted online, you might mention the executive
Congratulations to Tanya and Kellyanne, and congratulations to our two new council people, Emily and Jim. Welcome. We're glad you're both coming aboard. Right now, we are going to break for a 20-minute recess for a reception to thank our volunteers that are here and also all the council people and staff. We'll meet over here. And then after the 20-minute recess, it's not on the agenda here. It's on the updated one that they picked up at the door. Okay, we will break for an executive session, but I need the council to come back and sit down for the motion first, and then we'll head up for the upstairs for the executive session, which will last for 30 minutes, and then we will come back down. So what time is it? It's a quarter till. We will break until 7:05 for the reception. Okay? Enjoy. Is there a motion concerning the executive session?
Mayor, I move that the City Council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice related to the terms and conditions of a potential development agreement for a project located at 2820 West 53rd Street in Fairway, Kansas, pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception at KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include city attorneys, Jim Mosselman and Todd LaSala, and City Administrator Nathan Nogelmeyer. There will be no binding action taken during the executive session, and the open meeting will resume in the City Council chamber in 30 minutes at 7:37.
Second.
Yes.
7:37, we are back from the executive session. We will continue with the agenda. Item number 8 is the monthly reports of the standing committees. Consolidated Fire District 2, no report. Admin and Finance, Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. I will largely let the report stand as submitted. The Administration and Finance Committee did not meet in November, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Nathan? All right. Police, Chief?
Mayor, he stepped out for a second to.
Okay, I'll move on to Public Works. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. I will also let my report stand as submitted. The one thing I'd like to point out is last Monday, we had our first snow event of the year, and I think for the first one, although the general public usually forgets how to drive during said stuff, we seemed to pick up right where we left off last year, and we're in mid-season form by the afternoon. So very proud of the staff and how quickly they responded and got the streets cleared. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Bill? Okay, Chief?
Sorry, I had to step out
That's
for a
okay.
second. Last month, we had a number of DUI arrests, which are up a little bit from our typical monthly reporting. We had numerous vehicles flee from us, but we also assisted outside agencies in apprehending individuals that ran from them in stolen autos and that were involved in hit-and-run accidents. So again, we were extremely active. One of the other things that we started doing is we're participating in a state-funded program through the Kansas Department of Transportation. We participated in this program before. It's the Special Traffic Enforcement Program. Our first campaign was over Thanksgiving. During that campaign, we had 70 traffic stops, which resulted in a number of traffic violation tickets, DUI arrest, and all of our activity is supported from the state under that umbrella of that STEP, or Special Traffic Enforcement Program, where they reimburse the city for overtime and provide equipment for the police department for participating in that. So it was a very successful campaign, and there'll be more to follow following the guidelines of that program. I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I will let my report stand.
Any questions for the chief? Okay. Parks and Rec, Bryce?
Thanks, Mayor. I'll just highlight that we had our Santa's workshop over the last 2 days over the pool house. Had over 130 kids come by and see Santa, and so that was pretty neat. Again, that was a really good effort on Renee and Jackson's part about getting all that organized and everything. So good success there. I didn't want to mention that I did say the tree sale was ending at the Mission. It's yesterday. I believe they've extended it. So I think the new hours are on site, I believe, for the foundation. Okay, anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions for Bryce? Okay. Monthly reports of the special committees. Tree Board, Bill?
No report, but I know Rick has been planting flags for tree plantings for the end of the year.
Wild guess how many we're planting this year?
42-ish,
Great,
give or take 3 or 4.
great, thank you. Next is public comment for consent agenda items only. I will read those into the record. A, approve minutes of the previous regular and special city council meetings. B, approve claims and appropriations, ordinance number 1839, November 2025. C, approve 2026 holiday schedule. D, approve cereal malt beverage license for Hen House. E, approve letter of understanding with Johnson County Aging and Human Services for the 2026 Utility Assistance Program. F, approve agreement with Burns and McDonnell for 2026 stormwater project design. I will open the floor for public comment concerning any of those items. Anyone wish to speak on the consent agenda? Nathan, anyone online? All right, I'll close that. These items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration in a separate motion. Council?
Mayor, I do have one comment on the claims.
Okay.
There was an inadvertent formula error on the total for the Shawnee Indian Mission Fund. It added the sales tax reserve fund to it, and of course Bryce made some payments out of that fund, so it looks like on paper the Indian Mission Fund spent about $130,000. It was about $3,600. It did not affect the bottom line of the overall amount being paid for the month, but just to clarify that, we have corrected that on the version that was signed here this evening.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, council? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that the council approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve items A through F on the consent agenda. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Excuse me. I'm not contagious, I promise you. I just can't get rid of this dang cough. We will move on to new business. In moving on to new business, I think first I would like to start with 3 individual presentations concerning the creation of the 53rd Street Community Improvement District. And Whitney, you're up first.
Whitney Van Zandt. Okay. So I'd like to answer any
Could you
question.
lift the mic a little bit? There you go. You're tall. Yeah, he's really tall.
Yeah. But, thank you for the opportunity to speak about American Fire, the restaurant that, we'd like to open here in Fairway. I've presented here previously. I'd like to, move to answering, question and answers for any questions that people may have. I think that I could start and hit a couple topics that I've, in speaking with the Fairway community, are important to them. One, the culinary. We've provided examples for a menu. I think, I assume everyone's seen those, the menu items. And, that's a representation of what our chefs, our culinary department can do. What I think needs to be said is that similar to the way that we are building this concept, it's going to be a very thoughtful approach that's going to seek to serve what the people here want. We'll let the guests guide our decisions. To that end, these entrees, they may sound, very articulate and very nuanced. And that's not to say that we intend this restaurant to be, stuffy or to have, somehow there's a connection between, articulate menus and that also having a high cost. That's not what we're saying, in providing that menu. And I'd like to clarify that, when it comes to the families of this area, of which, that's what drives this market. We are going to have a strong family orientation. The food is going to be elevated. It's going to be thoughtfully put together by a tremendously talented chef, who unfortunately couldn't make it here tonight. But to that, for example, a children's menu that I know came up earlier, we want to do it in a way that is delicious and exciting, to that child, but also simultaneously healthy. It doesn't have to be, necessarily made in a way that doesn't have any health attributes connected to it. So I wanted to clarify and make sure that I touched on that. In the same vein, pricing has come up several times. We want a reasonable price. When I say that, more specifically, I believe our entrees will run, 20s, higher end up to the 40s. I think there will be specialty items that we may want to bring in, market seafood, Wagyu steaks, some of those fun things that our chefs like to play with and our guests appreciate. But if our guests don't appreciate it, we'll feature it and we won't continue to have it on. So, I think that I wanted to cover that. Some of you may ask, why American Fire? American Fire, in speaking with Chef Hilbert, who is going to be joining us here, we wanted to celebrate the American experience. And I know that is a very big, lofty, wide, huge, what is the American experience, right? But recognizing that, peoples come from totally different places, different backgrounds, different heritage, different cultures. We think that the fire itself the use of it, whether it be the Frontier, whether it be the Hearth, the smokestacks in the Northwest. You look at these barbecue, different elements, and that was a common theme. So that is somewhat culinarily driven, that name. But I think it's powerful when used in the context that we're building this concept around. So, what questions may I answer?
Whitney, what I think we'll do here is, there'll be two other individuals that will be presenting.
Okay.
And then the council will then ask the three of you questions. So we'll
Okay.
probably be having you come back up.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So I'm going to walk through and we're going to do a brief topic summary for the development agreement. So we're just going to go through, it's going to kind of follow the executive summary that's already in your packets. And we're going to hit the big points, and if you have questions, happy to answer them when we're done. So what we're talking about here is a development agreement. This is an agreement between the city and between the developer, Mr. Vinzant's, the Fairway Casey LLC. And the agreement is for, it's to develop or to redevelop the current restaurant that is located within the old Houlihan's building. And as Mr. Vinzant said, it'll be called American Fire, and it's envisioned to be a full-service sit-down restaurant concept. And the menu or a sample menu has been included in your packets, and it's an exhibit to the development agreement that we're talking about. So the way this thing will work is a development agreement is an agreement that puts in place an incentive mechanism. It's an agreement between the city and the developer. And in this particular case, what we're talking about is a community improvement district, a CID. And what a CID does is it puts in place a special tax within a specific footprinted area, and that tax can then be used to reimburse a developer for the development costs of the development project. More specifically, in this particular case, what we're talking about doing, what this agreement would do, would be to put in place a 2% CID sales tax at the old Houlihan's site. The footprint of where that tax would reach, I mean, it would be the restaurant, but the footprint is outlined. It's in the map in the exhibit that's included in the development agreement, and that's it. The tax does not get imposed outside the district. It gets imposed within the district, and it gets imposed upon people who spend money within the district, so people who are frequenting the restaurant, 2%. That's what it would be. The distributions of that sales tax would then be used to reimburse the developer for the costs of development on a pay-as-you-go basis. No bonds are going to be issued as part of this process. That is something that can be done under the statute, but that's not what we're talking about here. So the city's not going to need to get involved with anything like that under this agreement. What we're talking about is a usage tax. And so in this, for this particular development, what would the usage tax go to pay for? As the development agreement sets forth, it would go to pay for parking lot. Well, as part of the project, there will be parking lot and exterior improvements. There will be interior building improvements, and there will be landscaping improvements. The way that these things work is the developer, as part of a development agreement, submits a budget, and the budget sets forth a number of different categories that categories of expenses that can be reimbursed with the CID sales tax. And so you can see, and it's included in the as an exhibit in the development agreement, you can see the different categories of expenses that would be eligible for reimbursement using the CID sales tax. And so the way this works is the developer first needs to perform. And so in this particular case, it would be the developer under this agreement would need to start construction by February 1st of next year. and would need to complete construction of the improvements by August 1st of next year. The CID financing would then work as follows. Assuming that happens, every dollar that is spent within the or that is spent at the restaurant, with a few notable exceptions, every dollar would be taxed at 2%, and that 2% would accumulate and would go to reimburse Mr. Vinzant, or would go to reimburse the developer over time. The period of reimbursement is 22 years, starting with the day that the tax starts getting implemented. So the finances of that, which are also set forth in the agreement, include two numbers that kind of stand out. The first is the overall budget number. And as you can see in the executive summary, the overall budget number for this project is $3,316,110. The CID cap number, which is the number that is, that's the maximum amount that the developer can be reimbursed under the agreement. The CID cap is $1,658,055. If you run the numbers on that, it comes out to 50%. And so the way that this, it's intended to work is that's a 50-50 public-private reimbursement split. And when we say CID cap, the way that would work is as the CID proceeds accumulate over time, they then go to reimburse the developer up to the dollar figure that is set forth as the CID cap. So up to $1,658,000. To the extent that the developer doesn't incur enough expenses to hit that cap, the cap would be reduced over time, or would be reduced at the end of the project to maintaining a 50-50 split. So if the developer spends, $100, the cap would be reduced to $50 and elevated on up. So that's the way that the CID financing mechanism works. The development agreement, it puts in place the relationship between the city and the developer. It sets forth the basic ground rules and the agreements between the two parties. And one of those that I haven't touched on is the civic and community participation. You'll see that that's mentioned in the development agreement. If this agreement were to be entered into, the developer would be agreeing to participate in the civic, charitable, educational, philanthropic, and economic development of the city, which includes, among other things, the developer agreeing to make an annual donation to the Shawnee Indian Mission Foundation of $1,000. So with all of that said, that's kind of a high-level overview of everything that's in the agreement. Happy to take your questions and answer them whenever the appropriate time is. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. And the third individual we'll hear from is Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine is very brief. I just want to reiterate a few points to the council and the community. The city of Fairway, with this development agreement, would not assume any financial obligation of its existing revenue forms. In fact, with the restaurant opening in the space, the city would stand to gain from its base sales tax collection, and the 2% sales tax as a part of the CID would be on top of that base sales tax that the city already collects. So really, the way that this works is that all sales tax, and including the CID sales tax, is paid by the user. It is then the operator then submits all of their sales tax revenues to the state of Kansas. Kansas then remits it back to the community, and then the city would be responsible for the distribution directly back to the developer. If the restaurant doesn't make the money, it doesn't get the money. So we're not using existing dollars from the city budget. Over the life of the 22-year term, the only money that the CID will pay for is the money that is generated by the sales tax collected at the site. So there is no ongoing expense or financial commitment from the city beyond essentially distributing the 2% CID that is collected at the site. And just also will reiterate that in order for the developer to be reimbursed, they do have to submit what are called certificates of expenditure. And with those certificates of expenditure, the city including our attorneys, and if we need to bring in a third party to review the certificates of expenditure to make sure that the costs are legitimate and the expenditures are verified, that would be done prior to any distribution of the community improvement sales tax. There are, and they're spelled out in the agreement, there are eligible and non-eligible expenses that are listed as a part of the budget. So the job will be to make sure that what is being submitted for reimbursement is actually a reimbursable expense. So, and typically that will all happen on the front end, and then typically it would be a quarterly distribution of the sales tax that's collected. So we would take our monthly financials at the end of each quarter, we would review. There will be a separate fund on our financial report that shows how much money is going into the CID. That money, the revenue that's in there is then verified by legal, and then a distribution recommendation is made. So just to be clear, there are several checks and balances in there along the way, but the thing to take away from is that the city of Fairway is not committing any of its own future dollars to the project.
Thank you, Nathan. All right, next what I would like to do is open the floor to the council only for question and answer of either of the three individuals who just spoke. Tanya?
Thank you, Mayor. This may be for Nathan or Jim, and I think you both addressed it, but I want to make sure I understand. The definition and the concept of pay-as-you-go, how does that translate to the monthly invoices for quarterly reimbursement? Can you just touch on that very quickly again?
Sure. So as far as the pay-as-you-go, that just means that the city is not incurring any or participating in any sort of issuance of debt for the project. And so once the certificates of expense will likely all be submitted at the completion of the project. And so those will be verified before the first distribution is ever made, but it'll likely be enough in those first certificates that it'll show that there were enough eligible expenses to already reach the cap right out of the gate with the construction. So we receive monthly distributions of sales tax. There's a 2-month lag from the time it's collected to the time we receive it. And so generally with our other CID is at the end of each quarter, then we would do an electronic transfer once everything has been verified. We would do an electronic transfer from the city of Fairway to the developer on a quarterly basis. So that money will accrue for the quarter and then be distributed at the end of it.
And Mayor, if I may have follow-up?
Yes.
So you said upon completion of the project, does that completion date or timeframe match with what Jim mentioned as August?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Lee?
I have a question for Whitney.
Whitney, if you'll come forward, please. I think the mic's still on.
I know it's in some ways still early innings, but can you give the community just some idea of what you think the vibe, for lack of a better word, the interior upgrades you plan to do, what the look and feel might be like, what outside plans do you have? You've talked about the food. What about the place itself?
Yeah, I think, the expression within the restaurant that we'd like to have is a place that is approachable, that is fun, relaxed, rich finishes, in line with, thematically with what we want to do with the elevated quality of our food and beverage. We're talking about, new tile and new wood, new finishes, brass fixtures, and a more open framework than it currently, if you're familiar with the hula hands and raising the ceiling levels and so forth. From the exterior, we want to activate the patio, both sides. There's a small patio, would be on the east side of the building that, thank you. So if you look at the patio on the east side, we intend to do a fully covered awning. And with that, condition this, not with air conditioning, but, electrical and everything from lighting to, we'd like to have some fans up there as well. On the west side, that is like a tinted, we see that as I think 15 to 16 feet tall, as I recall, a tinted area that has, the zippered sides. And we would do this in a way that doesn't feel like, we're all familiar with the plastic, side of the tents, but do it in a way that is more developed and more permanent, more intentional. In general, I think hopefully that goes towards answering your question.
As a follow-up to Lee's question, on the inside,
Yes.
I know the landlord has done some work on the inside
Yes.
as part of your lease. Are you going to be changing the inside? Are you gutting it and replacing all the fixtures? And, will the bar change? Is it going to be a totally new look or what?
All the finishes will change. Like yes,
The booze go away?
we are going to, so the booths and much of what was there was contaminated. It had mold.
Yeah.
And so much of that has been demoed and removed. But we would like to come back with those horseshoe booths, which we think is wonderful seating. So we'd have to, we're going to hire and work with, I believe Elite Booth is who we're going to be working with to build those booths. So
What type of work will you be doing in the kitchen? I know what the space looks like, so I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Well, starting with the flooring, all the brick and grout it's not going to stand up to any type of stress. So that has to be redone. The kitchen line itself is going to be augmented. It's going to be a split line, 2 ways. To run the line with the food we're going to be doing, it takes a very strong team, a very strong chef to lead this. But pretty much everything in the kitchen, there's not going to be much that you recognize. We also want to showcase the kitchen. So we want that kitchen to be partially open to the front of house. And, when you're showcasing a kitchen to your guests, it has to look nice.
Okay, thank you. Anyone
Mayor.
else questions? Jerry, go ahead.
Jerry Williams, Ward 2. Question about I want to go back to the menu, the elevated concepts that you presented. And those, I think you said they were ideas of what your chefs could do, and that you would be flexible based on what your customers wanted.
Yes.
How flexible would you be? I mean, if our community decided we wanted hot dogs and fries, I mean, how flexible are you prepared to be to accommodate our community?
So the hot dogs and fries got me, Jerry. But I think that there's an elevated way to do that. I mean, if we were going to do our hot dogs and fries, maybe we create the hot dogs and the bun, and we build all the dressings that go along with it. That would be a way that would be more of the approach that we'd want to take here, without necessarily deviating from what is commonly paid for those items. Earlier, I heard someone in the audience speaking about gluten-free foods. And, you know, to this point, you know, we intend to have those types of, you know, gluten-free offerings strong. We have a strong basis in that already, but I think what our job as restaurateurs is to put forward something that people really appreciate. And I think, you know, we've spent all this time and you know, we've learned how these ingredients work and so forth. And we should be able to put forward a plate that, you know, maybe wasn't necessarily thought of by the guest, but something that is really appreciated. And so, you know, I'm speaking towards, I think, the team that we have, the expertise that they have. We can do, you know, we serve all different types of foods, but specific to here, I think, you know, putting forward that quality is going to be important. If you look at what Front Range has done, if you look at what Hen House is doing, you know, they're going more and more towards that quality orientation. They're doing that for a reason. That's what the people are telling them. That's what they want. I want to operate restaurants in places where the community celebrates that hard work that we put into it. If they don't, why are we doing it? And so, you know, that's part of the reason I'm still here.
Jerry, as a follow-up, Whitney, I have a question about the menu. When you were here the first time
Yes.
and talked about the concept of brew pub, right? Brew
top.
Brew top, I'm sorry, brew top.
Well, it was a little bit pivoted from, yes.
Yes. And we had, probably 3 times as many people here that night as we do tonight. And I did not see a single person that was not excited about that concept. And this is now the 3rd menu that we have seen from you, counting that first one. And in my I do not cook. So in my inexperienced eyes, I see quite a difference between what we heard when you were first here and the menu that's been presented in the development agreement that we're reviewing tonight. And my biggest concern about that difference is not that we are controlling what you are doing in your restaurant, is the transparency to the public. For those that were here that first time and heard that concept and was so excited about it, and then if they see the concept that you're doing now. So help me understand why that, what I consider a major change, why that happened.
Well, if you remember, when we first spoke about Brew Top, we also spoke about some changes that would have to occur for us to operate that establishment.
As far as the music?
Music,
Yeah.
late night business,
Right,
those are big parts of that business.
okay,
So when we're cutting off a significant amount of revenue, at some point, it ceases to work. I think additionally to that, we've sharpened what we want to do here. I think time in that way has helped us, because I think that what we're putting forward now is a little bit more appropriate. I think it'll be more appreciated than what we had previously. Now, when we say there are differences, some of those differences, you know, they may not be major. We're still doing, say, a hamburger. You know, Brew Top's known for their hamburgers. We're still going to do one. It may just be a little bit more artisan in its approach. So,
or if requested by a 6-year-old, less artisan?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Now, don't forget, I have 4 kids.
now I know you do.
Yeah, that's the test. But
Oh, no, they're raised differently, because they're used to your experimentations.
yeah, they are. But, yeah, I know that how accommodating the team that we've assembled for here is. And I think that we're going to do everything we can. I mean, they have the talent, the experience to be able to, put meals together made to order, right, in the moment. You can't do that on a busy Friday night, but
Understood.
within reason.
Right.
So I think that, the other orientation on this is, when you look at this, this is a long-term commitment. I mean, this is, to put all this in perspective, I realize we're asking for the CID, but we're putting the money in first, right? We have to be there. I mean, Nathan and I have cut the numbers 6 ways to Sunday. We have to be there about 22 years, and we very likely won't get paid out the amount of that CID even at that point. So, I mean, I'm looking at, I want to operate restaurants. I think if you look at my company, we want to operate restaurants for the long term. And so that quality orientation over time is something that is much more difficult to replicate from a competitive standpoint. And that's saying that I think our team is better than what's out there. That's how I feel.
Thank you. Whitney?
Whitney Henley, Ward 4. Hopefully,
That confused me.
I know,
Sorry.
whenever they say your name, I'm like, what? What now do you think the hours will be? Like, is it 7 days a week, and will there be brunch, are my biggest question.
Yes to both.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, brunch continues to grow as a day part. It's just bigger and bigger, which is a little bit concerning because sometimes it's a trade-off between dinner and brunch. But, I think we intend to be open 7 days a week, so. Mondays, sometimes Monday lunch, we don't, that would be,
What's your favorite meal to prepare?
and till, typically 9:30 on a weekday. Friday, Saturdays, 11.
Anyone else? Questions for any of the three?
Mayor,
Yeah.
I would just
You
like
have
to
a
make
question, Nathan?
I just want to make a clarification, just so
Okay.
that everybody understands what you see on the screen is purely the concept, and what the council is approving tonight is just the development agreement. What has to happen in this series of events is that eventually Mr. Van Zandt's team will submit plans and a building permit application, and then our standard process for that would be that because it is a commercial space, anything on the exterior would require planning commission consideration and approval and recommendation of that exterior work to the governing body. So tonight is not about what it's going to look like on the outside or the inside. That will all be subject to the approval process that they will go through. So I just want to be clear that if you approve the development agreement this evening, it may or may not look like what you see on the screen before you, because there's a whole different process for that. Just want to be clear.
All right, council, you'll have another chance, but gone for this chance. Okay. I would like to open the public hearing for the creation of the 53rd Street Community Improvement District. Whitney, you can go ahead and sit down now. We may ask you to come up again. And I'm going to open this hearing for public comment. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and ask away. Explained it that well? Anyone online? Oh, here comes someone. I knew you'd come up.
I'm Mike Tamburini. I live at 5545 Falmouth Road. Just briefly want to say I fully support the community improvement district and the project overall. Mayor, your recap of the transaction at a previous council meeting was extremely helpful in answering a lot of questions I had. And if you live in Ward 1, Lee Story's provided regular updates on this project, which has also been extremely valuable. So I encourage the council to approve the project.
Thank you.
Tim Basar, 5310 Norwood. I also just wanted to kind of echo the comments that we just heard and appreciate all of the work that's gone so far. And Mr. Van Zandt, thank you very much for everything that you've done so far. Being maybe one of the closest houses to the restaurant, I think we can probably see your patio from our bedroom. We appreciate all of the work and the consideration for the neighborhood as far as limiting the hours, the music, and whatever. However, I can speak for myself and my neighbors. We are very much looking forward to having a restaurant again within walking distance. So thank you to everything that's gotten us so far, and again, would like to encourage everything we can to move forward. I'd very happily pay 2% more per meal to have it right across the street. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online, Nathan? Nobody's raising their hand? Okay. No other questions? This is a quiet group. A few months ago, they had you beat. Okay, Eric. I knew if I gave you a little while.
Eric Smith, 5346 Belinder. And yeah, no real questions. I appreciated what Whitney had to share about the menu and trying to remain responsive to the wishes of the community. And I think, you know, the family orientation and making sure that you have some options, hopefully with a good happy hour menu as well, would be appreciated. But we're very supportive, and we hope the council will approve this project. Thank you.
Todd, do you have anything?
Yeah. So, Mayor, at this point, you have options. You
Okay.
can either close the public hearing and vote. If you choose to do that, we'd like to see you vote on the resolution about the development agreement first and the ordinance to establish the CID second. You have to take up those votes separately.
Okay.
Your other option is you can choose to continue the public hearing to a future meeting if there were reasons that you wanted to hear more about this or talk about this further or explore other things, in which case you would probably take a motion and a second and then decide whether or not
to continue.
To continue.
Yeah.
That's right. Those are your choices at this point, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Lee, question there.
Yes, Lee?
So, I understand what Todd just said. Will we have an opportunity to make some comments if we'd like to before we either postpone or vote? Previously, we asked questions, not comments.
Right.
I have some comments.
If they pertain to the development agreement or to item C, the ordinance it creates, I'd rather hold those until we get to those two items. So if it's in general about the creation, that's fine. But if it concerns items B or C, I'd rather you make those comments at that time. Which is what Todd basically just said.
Okay. Well,
Do you have a comment? Okay, go ahead.
So, first of all, I'd just like to welcome everybody that's here. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's cold outside, and it's just great to see everybody participating in local government, whether you're here to support this restaurant concept, or you're against it, or you just want to get the cookies. It's always great to see everybody. And I want to thank Whitney for being here again, and for telling us more about his vision. By my count, you've been trying to find a way for your restaurant family to be in Fairway for 4 years, almost 4 years, through different concepts, as the mayor brought up.
It's not been 4 years.
And
not with the city.
And I appreciate that, the hard work that you have put into the concepts that you have brought to the city. And I think with any plan like this that's worth doing, there are always going to be plenty of opinions. There are going to be opinions about the menu, there are going to be opinions about the CID. And if we all had our own restaurant, there would be 4,400 whatever individual restaurant concepts. So it's a challenge. And it's a challenge for us up here because, you know, there are always folks for and against. And if you guys would just always make up your mind 100% and tell us what to do, that would make things a lot easier. But it's not always the case. So I have, from the feedback I've received, there are two primary concerns that I just think we ought to address. And the one concern on the CID part of the thing, one's on the CID and one's on the concept. CID, there's a concern that there's any public participation in a private venture, period. And then there's some concern that, well, we're okay with that in concept, but we're not completely comfortable with this particular one. And I just want everybody to know my perspective. I think we have been working on this as a group and a community for a long time. I believe we're dealing with a unique situation with this particular building. We do not have a lot of places in Fairway for us to go out and develop. Really, we have one building, and it's not part of the Fairway Shops. It's owned by an individual, and it's been there sort of like a white elephant for 6 years, just begging to be utilized. The person that owns the building, in theory, could put whatever they want to put in there. It doesn't have to be a restaurant, but I believe the community has spoken and over all this time has said, please try to find a way that we can have a restaurateur in there to recreate some version of the Houlihan's experience and have a gathering place that we haven't had, and don't put a dog groomer in there or a hardware store. And
That's never been our intent.
that's right. So, to me, the Kansas CID law, was passed in 2009, was designed just for this opportunity, to be able to bring additional funding through the CID mechanism to develop a property that has been vacant for a long period of time and is either underdeveloped or undevelopable. It's the language of the CID law. So I believe it fits. And I know for a fact, based on what I'm told, that but for the CID, this entire project is not going to happen. So again, I believe we have a real opportunity here to put something that's as exciting as we've had and seen in Fairway for a long time. Why is it important to me? Because the number one comments that Kellyanne and I have gotten, and this has been consistent for 2 years, and before I ran for this job, is when are you going to get a replacement restaurant in for Houlihan's? It's just on everybody's minds. And as Nathan said, Fairway is putting in $0. Mr. Vinzant is putting in over $3 million, at least that's the plan. And as Whitney said, he assumes 100% of the risk. Fairway has no risk, and Nathan made the same point. So if the concept works, then everybody wins. We have a terrific restaurant here that everybody has been enjoying, and guess what? The city makes an additional $60,000 or $70,000 a year in sales tax that we've been missing for the last 6 years. I know for a fact we have uses for an extra $60,000 or $70,000 in the city. So a win is a win to have a gathering place. It's a win to have a restaurant back in that spot, and it is a fiscal win for our community, and it's a win for the Fairway Shops, who have a refreshed anchor on one end coming with the hen house, as Whitney said, and this would be a major league upgrade to the other end of the Fairway Shop. So I just believe that the CID part of this equation was meant for this, and I almost think it would be irresponsible not to approve it, just from a financial standpoint, because it just makes sense to me. And so I'm prepared to vote yes for the CID, and I would encourage my fellow council members to vote yes as well. I have other comments on the concept, but you'd like to hold those till later? Okay, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Lee. I'm not going to go back in history and tell you what has been happening since December of 2019 until, let's see, even though I went through that history, I didn't give it all to you, but let's see, 2021. It wasn't until 2023 that concepts that were even viable were brought to the city that Nathan and I and staff looked at. But they weren't what the residents wanted. So it wasn't like we weren't working on it, which I feel that Lee alludes to that. Your number of 60 to 70,000 on sales tax is a little high, but we all are in favor of a restaurant that is family-oriented in that space. There is no one on staff, there is no one that I've heard on this council that isn't on the same page. But I also am not going to jump into something for Fairway, although you think, God, this has been going on forever. Well, it hasn't been. There's been different segments and different restaurants that have stepped up that have tried to get into this space. But the landlords were not willing to work with them. We're glad that the landlord is finally willing to work with Whitney. And Whitney said to me, that was the most difficult lease I have ever negotiated. We stood upstairs and he said that to me. And I'm glad he went through that process. But we have been trying to fill that space. We know how important that is. So there's been no pushback from anyone on the council, and I've been here this whole time, or anyone from staff. And it is my responsibility as mayor to protect the city, and there were certain things that we needed to take care of until we could get to this point.
I'm happy to answer any questions, but nothing else.
Time for council to ask questions concerning the development agreement. Lee?
Thank you, Mayor. The other concern that I heard from some residents does relate to the proposal and the concept. I think a lot of folks, and I might even be in that category, would just like to have the Houlihan's never have closed. It was handy, everybody loved it, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, it is closed, and it's not coming back, and a similar fast casual restaurant style no longer really fits for the space that we have available. So as a city, we have to find a qualified, in my opinion, it should be local, proven entrepreneurial restaurateur who is willing to take the kind of financial risk and business risk just in general to put a concept in this space. We have looked at many recipes, we have looked at different design elements, we have talked about the specifics of the hours of operation, et cetera, et cetera. And so, and I believe tonight Mr. Vinzant has addressed the concerns that folks have said to me about whether or not this is too fancy for Fairway, whether or not it's going to be family friendly, whether or not The prices are going to be so high that nobody can afford it. It sounds to me like Mr. Van Zandt has listened to the community in previous meetings and in meetings with the mayor and city administrator. He's crafted an approach that sounds like it's unique on the one hand, and it'll be unique to Fairway, but it is also going to give us that same casual, approachable, family-friendly, all the way up to a good date night, or it could be a special night. I think we're going to have a spectrum of different options available to us here, both from food offerings and price points. So I guess I am sympathetic to the fact that Jim and Emily have not been part of this process thus far, and so are here tonight to make a vote on something that they haven't spent as much time as the rest of us. On the other hand, and I think the mayor has done a good job of letting people know how much time and effort have been spent on this, I believe a sufficient amount of time and effort have been put into this. We have the right guy for the job, and he's sitting right there. He's going to do a great job for Fairway, and we should quit futzing around and make this thing happen. Thank you.
Jerry?
Jerry Williams, Ward 2. I think we are in a unique situation, and I think the space is screaming for utilization. And I'm not here to do a sales job I like Mr. Van Zandt, but I'm not here to do a sales job there. But as a resident of Fairway, I think that was an important part of our community, and it brought people together for various reasons. And I think anytime a community gets together and have conversation and break bread together, I think that makes the community better. So we have been talking about this idea for quite a long time, and I appreciate our mayor's diligence over the past several years to get something into that space, and not to minimize all that work, because I think it was a lot of work. But I think we have to move. We've been talking a long time, and I think we're at a point where we need to make a decision and move forward. So, and I know we have 2 new council members tonight, but I'm really anxious to get moving on this project and work together with our partner and make it successful. So, not to kind of roll over our new members, but it's time to move on this project. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Anyone else? Whitney?
I will mention one thing that was a big part of our conversations as we were moving forward with the creation of the development agreement, and some concerns that we've heard from community members regarding just precedent setting, because this is a larger percent, and some people have spoken to the amount of the reimbursable cap. And I think both Lee and Jerry have kind of spoken to the uniqueness of this situation, the overwhelming support that we have from community members speaking out and wanting a restaurant to occur. In my opinion, I don't think we see this as precedent setting, or that we are going to have irresponsible financial decisions as we move forward. I think we see this as this really unique situation to get this happening and addressing this need that we see in our community. So I don't see this as something that moving forward we will have similar caps and percentages on CIDs. And that's been a part of things that we've had discussions on as well.
Kellyanne?
Kellyanne Busick, Ward 1. In the last election cycle, the biggest question I got was, when are we going to get something in the Houlihan space? And I had no answer, because I didn't have an answer, and I wasn't going to give an answer because we don't have all the we didn't have all the information at that time. However, Nathan and the mayor, Mr. Van Sant, we have learned a lot. And I feel more confident now that we're going in the right direction. And I really think that we should vote yes, move forward, and bring a wonderful new restaurant into our city to let our citizens and other people from other cities to come to Fairway and to embrace that. And it's a positive thing. I don't see any negatives at all. I think this is a very positive step. Thank you.
Anyone else? Tanya?
I wanted to express appreciation for part of the agreement around the civic and community participation. I know it's not unique to Fairway, but I really appreciate staff and the mayor for making sure that precedents that we have set and led the way in terms of community support still appear in this. So I really appreciate the consistency with that and all the finishing touches and the detail that went into this. I really appreciate the work.
Thank you, Tanya. Anyone else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Lee?
Thank you, Mayor. I motion that we approve the creation of the 53rd Street Community Improvement District.
No,
Is that wrong?
no.
Hold on.
We're on item D.
Development agreement first, please.
Okay. I move that we approve Resolution 2025K to adopt development agreement with W. Vinzant Restaurants.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025K to adopt development agreement with W. Vinzant Restaurants. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? No. Okay, we have 7 yes, 1 no. Nathan? Motion passes. All right, item C. Now we have a development agreement. Now we have to develop the district. So hang on just a minute. Let's move on to item C. Consider ordinance, this is the law, 1840. An ordinance making findings as to the nature and advisability of creating a community improvement district in the city of Fairway, Kansas, to be known as the 53rd Street Community Improvement District, authorizing a certain community improvement district project relating thereto, approving the estimated cost of such community improvement district, establishing the boundaries of the community improvement district, and providing for the method of financing of the community improvement district. Council, any discussion? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that we consider and approve ordinance 1840, an ordinance making
You
findings.
don't need to read it all unless
Okay.
you really,
The
really,
rest of
really
that
want to.
stuff.
You don't have to read it.
1840,
That's perfect.
consider and approve.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 1840. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. All right, we will move on to item D. Consider building permit extension for 4120 Brookridge Drive. Nathan, I think that's you.
Actually, Mayor, the applicant is here, so we'll let them.
Oh, okay. Long time no see.
I know, Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name's Melissa Rooker. My husband Tom and I live at 4124 Brookridge Drive. We purchased 4120 from a longtime Brookridge resident. I myself first moved onto the street in 1973, and Dave and his wife Arlene both lived on Brookridge in different houses. They married and moved into 4120. He was in his 80s when we purchased the house. And we've been on quite a journey in trying to renovate and prepare the house to be our forever home. We love this neighborhood and intend to move in to 4120 and then put the house we're currently in at 4124 up for sale and hopefully attract another young family to the city and
We'll start all over again.
exactly. COVID, supply chain disruptions, labor shortages. Our first contractor, we invested a year worth of time with this contractor who had done the renovations on the house we're in. He ended up almost dying from health challenges and asking for a pause so that he could recuperate. He ended up recusing himself from the project because he had to retire. He couldn't, he didn't regain the strength. That meant a period we had to search for somebody else to come in and do the contracting for us. We made a choice after doing due diligence. I think we tried to concisely define in the letter we submitted the background work that we did to find a reputable contractor. We've since filed a lawsuit under the Kansas Consumer Protection Act against that contractor because of the delays, the shoddy workmanship, and a whole host of issues with how he represented his abilities to complete this project. Police department helped us with a civil standby in February when we let him go so that he could collect what belonged to him from the job site and we could reclaim the property so that we could continue the work. From February until May, well, May is when I think we finally got to a place where we passed our rough-in inspection. We had to remediate. We had to pull out work that had not been done properly and redo it. We've spent summer and fall finally getting to the good stuff, all the finishing work to make it pretty and livable. We are in the punch list phase. We've got, it's this close. I optimistically have taken a couple weeks off at the end of the year, hoping that we actually can move in. But it's our understanding we need an extension on the permit so that the city inspector can come do the final inspection that we need. We've got all our plumbing is in all the fixtures. We have running water and we have like light fixtures are being put in. Walls are painted, trim is up, doors are in, hardware's installed, floors are completed. We are so ready to move in. We are anxious to make this house our home. So we hope that we get your support to bring this project to completion. And I'll stand for questions if there are any.
Well, you know, council, I think we can help out here. Is there a motion?
Mayor?
Kelly?
I ask if we could consider building permit extension for 4120 Brookridge Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the building permit extension for 4120 Brookridge Drive. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good luck.
Item E, consider Resolution 2025L, a resolution adopting the State Park Road preliminary project study. Bill?
I don't really have anything to add to it. This is the presentation that was given to us, it's been a couple months, I believe, at the Finance Committee meeting with the preliminary findings from the PES that was done along State Park Road. By adopting this, we'll then send it on to SMAC for possibility of future funding and also allow us to open up those channels with Mission Hills about moving forward with any type of project as long as the governing body was on board with it.
Council, any questions concerning this or any discussion? All right.
I have one, Mayor.
Okay,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Lee?
I think the concern might be, I don't know if it's Nathan or Bill direct my question, but concern might be that in adopting the study, we are making decisions or approving a specific course of action, and that is not the case, right? We're just voting to approve the study.
That is correct. The last line of it says, adoption of the study does not obligate the city to fund or do anything.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Any public comment on this item? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Is this on?
Yes, it looks like it.
That's all.
There, the light's on.
I'm Gene Young. I live at 5622 Chadwick. That's the corner of State Park Road and Chadwick. I've been there since 1966. State Park Road is a very interesting problem in the sense that, and I'm the city historian, so I suppose I got into this. If you look back on maps and guides and stuff in the 1920s, that was a bridle path following the creek. It was not a road. Eventually, as things changed over time, it became a road. And of course, the reason it's State Park Road is because it has a connection with the Shawnee Indian Mission, which is a state park. I guess my concern is, I suppose that today in the email I received, or that we all got, that's the first time I had seen that there's some kind of a study or something going on about the flooding problem on that street. And there certainly is one. During the infamous Plaza flood outside of my house, and luckily my house is high enough and not in the official floodplain, State Park Road was running, and I'm the example, this deep outside of my house. The reason I know that is a car was washed off of either Shawnee Mission Parkway, well, Johnson Drive then, down that street, and it was impaled on the light pole right across from my house. And some neighbors of mine and myself threw a rope over and waded over and got the ladies out of the car. And as we know, of course, the Plaza flood was a terrible disaster. I guess my concern is that a study of all that and why it is the way it is, of course, is a valuable thing. I just want to make sure that the process of this study has input from the people who live along it. Obviously, that is a rather self-centered thing for me to say, but I'd like to think that my history and my experience by living there would be of some value to the people who are deciding what to do with it. And I like to think the people on down State Park Road and on up State Park Road would also like to be involved with, or at least have somebody that knows what's happening there or what they're thinking about. Now, I know this is a long-range thing, and if I understand correctly, what we're thinking about here tonight is having it looked into seriously, which I think is a good idea. I just want to make sure that the residents and how it affects the people most connected with it have their input and are informed of what's going on in the process of doing it. You may remember that sometime back there was a meeting up at the Kansas City Country Club of the people who lived adjacent to the country club because of what they were going to be doing. And as we know, it has been no small thing of what they've been doing. I attended that meeting with a lot of people who are here tonight, And one of the questions I raised is, were they going to do anything with that creek? Were they tempted to sort of straighten it out so they didn't have a problem with the fairway? And they said they'd thought about it, but the answer that night was the Corps of Engineers pretty much said, well, you can't be messing with it. I don't know what the Corps of Engineers input into this thing, but that was the answer we received that night. It made me somewhat happy because I didn't want them to put some kind of straight shot down parallel to State Park Road and turn it into a temporary sluice when we had serious rains. And I still have that thing in my mind, whatever goes on there could make it worse for the people that live next to it. And although I have escaped any damage from it, I know other people along the way have. That's my long thing of saying, please keep us informed and what is proposed, and if looking into it is what's proposed, very good. If there's something about this thing that says we're going to adopt whatever Burns and McDonald or whoever else says, then that needs to be looked at very seriously. That's my thought.
Thank you, Gene. And it came through loud and clear, and I promise you, we will keep you informed.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else in the public? Yes.
By the way, my name is Scott Brown. I live at 5645 State Park Road. And again, I really appreciate the council and what they did in with regards to the restaurant. And it's been long coming and really appreciated. Being a resident here for 26 years and having our kids go up there and hearing from our kids when they're growing up now. They're 20, 25, and 27. And they said, when are we going to have a restaurant here? So it's great to know that it's coming. So thank you. But no, with regards to what Gene said, yes, it's just like to be kept informed. We've lived there 26 years. We have not had one drop of water in our basement, no flooding issues. We live on the corner of Aberdeen and State Park Road. And it's a beautiful house, and we moved there, and I was so excited when we moved in 26 years ago. So it's absolutely beautiful. And would hate to see something done that adversely affects that changes the character of the street, because it is like a park. It's appropriately named. So I appreciate you all keeping us informed. Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone else? Anyone online holding up their hand? All right. Council, is there a motion concerning this resolution?
Mayor, I motion that the council approve Resolution 2025L to adopt the State Park Road preliminary project study.
Second. Been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025L. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Item F, consider Resolution 2025M, a resolution updating the master fee schedule for the city. I know that's you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the annual fee schedule update occurs each year in December. Staff goes through and reviews all of our fees to ensure those that are supposed to be covering costs are covering costs. And also that we are remaining in line with what other cities in the area are doing. So this is largely routine in terms of updating. The one thing I'll point out in Abby's memo that she included was that we are moving to a multi-year option for dog licensing. So residents will have the option to purchase a 1, 5, or 10-year license for their dogs. That will roll out on January 1, and there'll be information about that in the newsletter. That will hit around that time. The other that I'll just point out is Bryce's memo that is also included here regarding the impact fees that we're looking to do as a part of the master plan schedule. And Bryce can answer any specific questions, but you may have noticed in the financials this month that we have had, MMS has officially created the park fund where we would be putting these fees. We also have a budgeted transfer from the Parks and Recreation Department into this new fund for 2025. We discussed that at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting on the 1st of December. So that transfer will go into that account, as well as Bryce will be doing some additional transfers in there this year as well. So with that, do you have anything you want to add? With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nathan? Okay, is there a motion?
Mayor, I move we approve Resolution 25M, which is a resolution updating the master fee schedule for the city.
Is there, okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025M. All
Mayor,
those in
Mayor.
favor?
You want to ask for public comment?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, public comment. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Sorry, guys. I'm wearing out. Item G, consider Planning Commission recommendation regarding sign deviation requests for 4150 Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Thank you, Mayor. So what we have, and I'm gonna put these two together, but we will need a separate vote for each one.
Okay.
So we do have two new businesses that'll be moving into the vacant tenant spaces at 4100 Shawnee Mission Parkway, which is where Starbucks is located. As a part of their process, any business in the city who's doing anything on the exterior, including signage, that requires city council approval. PVOLV, we'll talk about PVOLV first. They are going into the center space, right immediately adjacent to Starbucks. And you can see here on the application that they have submitted, they want to put up some temporary window coverings, which we deem as signs, that exceed what's allowable by code. And this is just for their construction period. They'll be screened, screenings on the windows to advertise the business. A condition of the building permit would be that when they receive their certificate of occupancy, that those signs have to come down. As far as the screens, there is some verbiage that that Planning Commission is recommending approval of. So that is deviation request number one. Both PVOLV and PAWS want to do window screenings. And this is actually, staff prefers this because it covers the windows and so you don't see the construction work going on inside. Because it's larger than what we would allow as far as a window sign as a deviation request that the Planning Commission is recommending approval of. Also with both restaurants, you can see where my mind is, with both stores, their facades are quite a bit larger than what the standard language is in our code when it comes to size of sign and sort of scaling it. So with both locations, their signage, if they stuck to code, it would look like really tiny lettering on a really big facade. So staff recommended and Planning Commission also recommended a deviation to allow for larger signage for both, permanent signage for both businesses when they open. So that's deviation number 2 for both of them. The third is that PAWS is also having what's called the term is blanking, a blade sign. That is a sign that actually comes off the facade and is about a 2 foot by 3 foot logo of theirs that will appear on the side of the facade. And you can see it, there was a picture of it in the packet. Typically those are not permitted by code, but the applicant did request. Staff actually did not recommend approval for that, but Planning Commission did recommend approval of that to the governing body. So that's just kind of a real brief overview. Again, we need to take action on them separately, and I will just give one nod to now former Councilman Watkins, who reached out to me, because if you look at the site plan for both applications, they point to the same space within the 4100 building. And so David just wanted to make sure that he proved to me that he did read his council packet, even on his last city council meeting. And so Abby will work with the architect to get that site plans cleared up for us. But so that is it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Nathan? All right, well, let's tackle 4150 first. Is there a motion concerning that request? Oh, yeah. You want to comment on this? I'm sorry, guys, that's not like me. Online? Okay. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I motion that the council approve the planning commission recommendation regarding the sign deviation request for 4150 Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the planning commission recommendation regarding the sign deviation for 4150 Shawnee Mission Parkway. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
No? Passes unanimously. Okay, and H, consider planning commission recommendation regarding sign deviation request for 4100 Shawnee Mission Parkway. Questions there? Public comment? Motion. Jerry?
I move that we consider it and approve recommended signage.
See, it's not just me. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the planning commission recommendation regarding sign deviation for 4100 Shawnee Mission Parkway. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Next is governing body comment. During this time, members of the governing body will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken during this time. Anyone have anything? You done talking? Okay, we'll close this. Public comment for items not listed on the agenda. Anyone out there want to talk some more? Nope. Okay. Guys, that's it. We're adjourned, huh? No, we're not going to motion tonight. We're just going to adjourn. We are adjourned.